Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've been sewing a lot and working and doing markets. I started doing markets last, I want to say August or September. I can't remember. But that was my first market. I did 4 markets and I love it. I love meeting the people. I love talking with the people. I love seeing how they respond to stuff that I made. So I have decided that this year I'm going to do more markets. I signed up for 4, none of which is starting until June. I think that will give me enough time to sew the things that I need, because what I noticed last year when I started is I was like really rushing in between markets to have product done. So I decided that I am going to work on stuff on the first half of the year, and so that I have enough inventory for my markets. That being said, I'm really planning what I want to do because I also noticed that, I see pretty fabrics and I'm like, oh my God, that fabric is nice, and that fabric is nice, and that fabric is nice. And before you know it, I have like 19 different color options of the same product. So I'm like, okay, I need to like hone it in and maybe have like 5 different fabrics of one product. That being said, I'm still grabbing fabric. Anyway, so I made these keyfobs, these keyfob wristlets, whatever you call them. And they're made out of gingham. And I am very particular when it comes to my sewing. So I need my lines to be straight. You see that? And the thing is, like, what I noticed with the fabric was, I would cut it with the ruler. I would cut, the 5 inches or whatever I need. And it would not be straight, even though it's straight with the ruler. So the stripes are not straight. So what I decided to do was cut it larger than I needed, iron my SF101 to the back, and then cut it on the line to the 2-inch width that I need. So that's what we're gonna do today. So I'm gonna go to the iron. Again, this piece of fabric is 5 inches wide by 13 inches long. And I'm going to iron it to the SF101. So if you don't know what SF101 is, it's a stabilizer interfacing. It's a Pellon product. And one side has glue on the product that I'm using. One side has glue and one side does not have glue. The side with the glue, you can feel it's rough. And that's the side you're gonna iron to the wrong side of your fabric. This fabric, you can't really tell which is the good side or the bad side. Some fabrics work like that. Some you can. So obviously you'll put the side that's rough onto the wrong side of your fabric. So I'm gonna go to my ironing board. I even set up an ironing board in my little space here over the weekend. I don't know why I didn't think about that before. So it's right here. My iron is here. I got a trusty wool mat. I also have like one of those vintage ironing board, vintage ironing board. So I'm still in the process of looking for a good iron because I have this little mini one here that I got off Amazon and it works really well. But when it comes to garment sewing, I prefer a bigger iron. And I will get back to garment sewing hopefully next month because I have a sewing retreat coming up. So I'm going to iron this to that, and now it's all stuck to it. And now I'm going to switch my camera to overhead so that you can see what I'm doing for the rest of the process. Now that I have my piece of fabric ironed to my SF101, I can go on to cutting it down to the 2-inch strips that I need. So what I do is I follow one of the stripes. That's what I do in order to get it straight. Because you can see how twisted this is. And this piece of fabric is cut straight. So my first thing is to find a stripe that I like. This is so bad on that side. Let's go here. And I probably can't use a ruler. So let's go with this stripe because it seems to go all the way up. Okay. So I cut that off. Now I'm going to cut 2 inches from there. And this is where I could probably use my ruler. This is really bad. This is like really bad. What you call it? Wow, it's so twisted. Okay, I'm going to go with this. But then I have to make sure I have 2 inches on the other side. Let's just put a little notch here. And let's see. Yeah, I have 2 inches. Okay. Let's go with this one. Okay. That's one. Is it exactly 2 inches? Probably not. It is really close. Here is a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm okay with that. Next piece. 2 inches. It's like good until it gets down. Let me see if I can show you. It's good until it gets down here. It's so bad. Okay, I'm gonna find 2 inches down here. So we're gonna go with this stripe. And that's why I cut it bigger than normal. Okay, let's see. 2 inches there. 2 inches there. This one is a little bit over 2 inches in this area. It's a little bit over 2 inches there. So let's see what we can do. It's so bad. I'm tired saying it's so bad, but I really don't want to trim off that. I'm going to trim a little bit off so that it doesn't affect my line when I fold it. Okay. The next thing I do is now I iron it. And I found a hack, my bias tape maker. I've had this for many years, never used it. So I take my strip and I put it in here. Let's see how that goes. I swear, the minute you try to show something on video, it never works. But me doing it in the basement, no problem. Because I had like so much of these to be done. And I sat in the basement with hubby watching TV, and this is what I did. I had my mat, I had my mini iron, and then I used my bias tape maker. I don't know where that idea came from. It just popped into my head. I'm like, wait a minute. Does this not fold things into like 1-inch strips? So while you're folding it, you can see your lines there and there. And if you need to adjust it, you adjust it. And then you just iron. So this size bias tape maker makes it fold into 1-inch wide strips. And that's what I need it to be because my hardware is 1-inch wide. And I can't stand when fabric is sticking out more than the hardware. Like I said, I'm very particular with my sewing. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and there's nothing like good professional looking finish. And I've always been the person that if my stitch is not good quality, I just don't sleep. Like, I seriously would get up and go undo the stitches. I've always been that way. So I decided to do it the right way the first time, and then I don't have to get up. Right. So this is one piece, and now I'm going to do the same for the other piece. And then we're going to stitch them together. We're going to go over to the machine and stitch it together. I wish there was like an easier way to get this started, but just a little patience, I guess. And get that in there. I use this pin to like glide it through. That's what I do, to glide it along. And then I just grab it once it comes to the end there. So there's different size bias tape maker. Like I said, I've had this for years and never used it because I've never really made bias tape. I feel it's for more quilters. I am not a quilter. Not to say I have never quilted, but I'm just not a quilter. And I've done 2 quilt projects, but yeah, that's not for me. So I can see here how it's starting to twist this way. So I'm going to keep the line, and then we'll see how it looks on the other side. So this is my hardware. I get it on Amazon. Once this bag is finished, I'm going to switch to a different one. So it fits inside there. Let's see this piece. That one is really close. So I'm going to fold it a little bit more. So now the next thing for me to do is kiss these two together and then top stitch on both sides. And I have to make sure they're both even, because I want it to look like this. That's what I want. Oh, I have to put my label on too. I forgot. I put my label on. So we're going to go over to the sewing machine and we're going to do that part. I have my 2 pieces and I have my label. I am also one of those seamstresses who don't like their label showing on the outside of their project. So I put it on one side here and I go 3 inches down. So I have a ruler right here on my machine table, and at about the 3-inch mark from the end here, I try and center it as best as I can, and then I sew it in place. This foot that I have on my machine is my top stitch foot, my edge stitch foot. I'm not changing it to do this because I'm going to be using it soon to top stitch around the key fob. And then I just stitch my label on. And that's it. My label is on. I snip my threads. I always snip my threads. I don't like threads hanging. This video seems to be like what I'm particular about when it comes to sewing. Okay. So I sew on a Bernina, And in order to top stitch, I like to use stitch number 6. Stitch number 6 is what is called a triple straight stitch. So it goes over each stitch 3 times. It gives it like the thickness. Let me grab one so I can show you what is a good. I don't know if you can see it on this one. Let's see. So each stitch is gone over 3 times, and I like that. So I put my stitch length to 3.75, and then I move my needle to the left. 1, 2, I think I move it 3 times to the left. And now it's not focusing. Now I line up both edges. So you can use clips to like hold it together. So like that. And now I top stitch them together. And that's it. It's stitched together. My label is on the inside. I am going to fold it like this. And then I go back to a regular straight stitch on my machine, and I just stitch across the top to hold it together before I put the hardware on. I'm going to trim my threads, and then we'll go over to the cutting table and I will show you how I put the hardware on. All my threads are trimmed. Actually, there's a little one here. There you go. See, so this is why I like to trim all my threads, because once you put the hardware on, it's going to be hard to get your scissors in there. And the worst thing is to see like a little thread sticking out, at least for me. Everything I do, I try to go for like a really professional finish. So you could also use a lighter, but no. I feel like it's gonna make like black stuff on my project. So this, because I have my label here, I consider this the back of my project. And this is the hardware. that I use. Like I say, I buy it in bulk, well, off Amazon. And I get that in here. And do you see how it fits in there really nicely? Now I use a press, rivet press, whatever. And it has the attachment for the key fob. I made sure and got that. So this is what I use to attach my key fob hardware. And because this is considered the back, I make sure that these little triangles are in the back as well. And I just put it up as snug as I can to the corner. I put it at an angle first to try and like start the close. I make sure like everything is where it should be inside there, and then I give it its final press. Now, I know some people put glue in there. I never have used glue, and I've never had a problem. You should see the amount of stuff I have on my key fob wristlet. I personally think a lot of the problems are because of the handheld key fob. I bumped my camera, guys. If you saw shaking, that's why. But this puts like so much pressure onto it. It's not going anywhere. And because I stitched the two pieces together, when I folded it and I stitched it together, it can't like one can't slide out because you stitched both together. So this is how I made my key fob. I don't even know if I have these on my website, but I do take them to markets and they do pretty well. And these are like my spring colors. And I had these gingham and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make some of these. I have like a whole box of them here. I have this green one. I think I showed you that. And I have a blue one. And I have some like floral stuff. I have some Rifle Paper Co. fabric. I love Rifle Paper Co. fabric. I'll show you those, but I'm not done them yet because I have to order rose gold hardware like these. These are Rifle Paper Co. fabric. I'm in love with these fabrics. And then I have like these ones. So all these are waiting for rose gold hardware because silver is not going to look good on these. And yeah, I can't wait to take these to market. There's a little thread there too. You gotta get my snips and get that out. But yeah, so I'm gonna come back on the end of this video and say goodbye to you. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I am going to edit this and try and get it out for tomorrow. I don't know what days I'm going to be posting yet, but we'll see. If you notice, I've been doing shorts, a lot of shorts, because I was just recording while I was doing stuff. And now I'm like, I should like actually show how to do things. I have all these ideas now. I want to do a video on how to thread a sewing machine. I want to do a video on how to sew straight lines because I get a lot of questions about that. How do I sew straight, or how do you sew so straight? And it's the simplest thing. It was taught to me by a lady many, many years ago when I first started sewing, because yeah, I was sewing all over the place too. So I'm going to be filming more videos today, but I'm going to try and get this one out for tomorrow. So I will see you in the next video. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Until the next time, bye.